Just before this video does start, I want to let you guys know about a giveaway I am running. With The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt's next gen updates, there is a physical copy releasing later down the line. And by just being one of the first 1000 subscribers to this channel, you will automatically be entered into a giveaway to win a free physical copy of the next gen version of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt on a platform of your choice. All you have to do is be one of the first 1000 subscribers on the channel. With the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, we've seen a lot of games get a next-gen upgrade, and those are games that have already released on PS4 and Xbox One, and then later get an upgrade to take advantage of the power and the overall features that come with the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. And with The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, it's no different. We have a free next-gen update arriving on December 14th. This does include loads of features such as a photo mode, new camera positions, and of course there will be the ray tracing support and 60 FPS, and it's basically going to be one of those classic next-gen upgrades. Now, since we don't have our hands on it yet, we don't really know how it's going to work, but we can get a bit of an idea by looking at some other games that have had a next-gen upgrade. So in today's video, we're going to be going on to some other games that have had a next-gen upgrade and see how it all works and how it differs to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions of the game. But just before we do get into all of that, please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any content just like this. So here we are in The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, and we're actually going to start off with The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt so we can sort of see how it is now, and then we can compare it to what it would be like on a next generation game by going on other next generation games. So this is just the PlayStation 4 version of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, but on a PS5. So we're actually going to be able to get a sense for how fast the game loads here on PlayStation 4 version of the game. And chances are it will be a bit faster when the next generation version does release, because they will be optimizing it. Obviously for those next generation consoles, this was designed for hard drives, not solid state drives. So there's going to be a difference in loading times, obviously. But we are on a solid state drive, so, you know, it will load faster than it does on a PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. And it's actually worth noting that if you are on a Xbox One or the Xbox One version of the game, but you're on an Xbox Series X, then you will be getting 60 frames per second. There is this feature called FPS boost, I believe, where you are able to get 60 FPS on the older games, and that does actually include games like The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt and actually the original Red Dead Redemption, which is really cool to see, to be honest. So there we go, we are in the game, and as you can see, the game is in 30 frames per second, and like I did mention, on Xbox Series X it will be 60, but this is 30 frames per second, but to be honest, in terms of graphics, it doesn't look awful. It really doesn't look awful at all, but they're actually going to be upgraded. You can sort of see in the distance, the render resolution, sort of draw distance isn't great, but obviously it's a 2015 game that was designed for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, so it's, you know, it's never going to look outstanding, but to be honest, I think it holds up really well. And if a game like this released nowadays, I wouldn't really think anything of it. I would think, you know, those are some good graphics. And yeah, I mean, you can sort of see its age a bit, especially when we're looking at these ships over there. You can sort of see some of the sails look a little bit pixelated, but I'm confident, absolutely confident, that it's going to look a lot nicer with this next generation version. And as we've seen with the CD Projekt RED live stream, we've seen that, you know, it is going to look nicer. And yeah, you can sort of get the feel the 30 FPS isn't great. Unless you've experienced higher than 30 FPS, you're not really going to notice it. You know, it's not going to feel slow or anything, because you've not really known to anything better. But as we're getting into the next generation of consoles, more people are experiencing 60 frames per second, and they're realizing, you know, that's actually such a nicer experience, and it is a massive jump going from 30 FPS to 60 FPS, and we're going to be able to do that in the next generation version. So yeah, there we go. That's sort of how the game is on PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 4 version of the game on PS5. If you are on a PlayStation 4, it might look a little worse. The frame rate should generally stay around 30. I did used to get a few drops when I played on PlayStation 4, but nothing major or anything like that. So yeah, this is what it's like on the older generation version of the game on The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. So now let's hop into a next generation game, and we can sort of see how a next generation game does work. So we're going to start things off with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and this does have a PlayStation 4 version of the game and a PlayStation 5 version, the same with the Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, and we are on the PlayStation 5 version of the game. And yeah, so far you wouldn't really be able to tell a difference. Obviously this is just the loading screen really, but there is going to be faster loading times if you were to play the PlayStation 4 version of the game compared to the PlayStation 5 version. And there is one distinct thing, in my opinion, that makes a next-gen game a next-gen game, and that is having the graphics options between 30 FPS and 60 FPS, and obviously there will be some graphical compromises when you do go to 60 FPS, and we're going to be able to see how that works in a next generation game and how you do switch between the two. So yeah, let's get into it. So here we are. This is actually how the loading screen works in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and yeah, you sort of just get to walk around here. And I mean, I suppose, you know, that's pretty cool. If I'm getting that in The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt or anything, there wouldn't really be a need to implement that. It'd be too much work for no reason. But yeah, here we are, and we're loading into Assassin's Creed Valhalla. There's a cutscene here, and I'm not really sure why this cutscene's playing. I haven't played this game in a while, to be fair. It's been a while since I've played Assassin's Creed Valhalla. We do have a new one releasing soon. I plan on doing a few videos on Assassin's Creed Mirage, so if you'd be interested in that, then yeah, let me know, and I'll be down to do that. And yeah, here we are in the game. And as you can see, this is actually 60 frames per second. And to be honest, the graphics look amazing. This game looks really, really nice. This did release in 2020, I believe. So, you know, it's a very recent game. We haven't had many major titles from 2020 to 2022. We've had Elden Ring and Horizon Forbidden West, God of War and stuff like that. But generally speaking, there's not been loads. So this is still, you know, a very recent game. And the graphics hold up amazingly. I mean, let's be honest, this looks outstanding. And I think, yeah, this looks really nice, and I think playing on the 60 FPS performance mode is the way to go with all games. Some games, you know, they've messed it up a bit, and it just doesn't look good at all on the 60 FPS mode, but I think here in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you're still getting amazing graphics at 60 frames per second, so I think, yeah, it's definitely worth it. But if we do head over, no, that's the inventory, but if, and, okay, yeah, if we do head over to the options menu, which we can do by going here, then we are able to actually change to a different graphics mode, and this is what you're going to see in all of these next gen games. So as you can see, we're on the high frame rate mode, and it says allow switching between graphics modes for better performance, prioritize 60 FPS or image quality, prioritize resolution and graphical fidelity features. So we can switch to the quality mode here, and we can just hit apply. There we go, it's just calibrating that, and we'll be straight in. So here we are in Assassin's Creed Valhalla again, but obviously this is with the favoring the graphical, you know, the graphical capabilities of the game. But obviously the compromises are in the frame rate, where we're getting about 30 frames per second here, and you can definitely tell it's 30 frames per second. But at the same time, the game looks amazing. The lighting's a lot better. Obviously, we're getting ray tracing features here, I believe. And the overall quality of the grass, the resolution of the game is just, it looks a lot higher, and there's no upscaling really or anything like that. It just works really well. And I think that, you know, for some people, this might be better for some people, but I feel like when they do experience 60 FPS, it's just going back to 30 just doesn't feel right, to be honest. It doesn't feel anywhere near as nice as 60 FPS, to the point where some people would find it unplayable. There are some people out there. Personally, there's definitely a playable experience, more than a playable experience in my opinion, but I would definitely go with the 60 FPS just because of, you know, there's not much for compromising graphics, but you are getting such smoother gameplay. But there we go. That is sort of how a next generation version of a game could work if it was to go in the sort of approach like this with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is very common and is what we tend to see with a lot of next generation games. But let's actually go ahead and try another one. So next up we have Ghost of Tsushima, and as you can see in this game we also do have the better frame rate option and the higher resolution. That's the best way that it could possibly be put, to be honest. You get a higher resolution or you get better frame rate, and we're going to start off with this one in the higher resolution. Now something different about this next gen version of the game is that it does actually utilize the haptic feedback of the controls. You can see that loading time there. Wow, that was, you know, instant. That's crazy. But yeah, it utilizes the haptic feedback on the DualSense controller, which is really nice to see. And as you can see right now, we are playing on the higher resolution, I believe, and I don't think, if I'm correct, I don't think it caps it at 30. I believe it will go up to 60, but it's not necessarily going to hit 60 all the time. So in a lot of ways, this is actually the better way to play this game, and it'd be interesting to see if that's what they do with The Witcher 3. I'm pretty sure it's not what they're doing with The Witcher 3, but it'd be cool just to uncap it to 60 FPS, because there's going to be times where, you know, it's not going to be, you know, it's not going to be getting below, it's never going to get below 30, but there's a good chance that a lot of the times it's going to be able to get above 30 frames, so, you know, it makes sense to make use of that. And now we are in the better frame rate, and this does feel a bit smoother. I have to say, this does feel a little bit smoother. I'd say maybe getting around, you know, 45 to 50 frames in the high resolution, and this one is definitely a stable 60. And to be honest, in terms of visual quality, I can't really see too much of a difference, to be honest. I mean, if we look at this grass and then we switch back to the high resolution, maybe there's a slight, okay, yeah, there's the coloring and everything looks a little bit better. But in general, there's not much of a difference. I'd probably go with the high resolution, actually, just because it still feels buttery smooth, to be honest with you. Honestly, I think in Ghost of Tsushima, the high resolution is better. But anyways, back to the, you know, referring this to The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, I think, yeah, it would be cool to see this is the way they do things. I don't think it will be where they sort of uncap it to 60 FPS, but I don't think that's what they will do. But it'd be nice if that was an option. But yeah, so on to the next game. So here we are in GTA Online. Now we are going to play the online, not the story mode, unfortunately, since for the PS5 version of the game, I only own the online. I'm not purchasing the story mode for a third time. But yeah, here we are in GTA Online, and this is the expanded enhanced version of the game. So yeah, the next generation version basically. And there are 3 graphic options actually within GTA 5. We do have performance, ray tracing, performance, and fidelity. Now at the moment I play on performance ray tracing. I found that sort of be the sweet spot, and this is in a way similar to what we get in Ghost of Tsushima, but it's actually, to be honest, it's a little bit better than what we get in Ghost of Tsushima, because here we actually do get the option to play with ray tracing, but it's also, you know, we're still getting that 60 FPS or close to 60 FPS experience. But then there is also the option for fidelity. So we'll check out fidelity first, which is basically the 4K 30 FPS, you know, the best graphical capabilities of the game. And the game, yeah, it's certainly 30 FPS, you can tell. But the game, you know, I mean, considering it's GTA 5, I think it looks very good. I think the game looks nice, and you can tell that everything seems just a bit more detailed. The render resolution, everything like that. For example, this sign, you know, it just looks really detailed. If you were to play on the PS4 version, this would look pretty pixelated, to be honest. So it's nice. This is all really highly detailed. And then we do have performance ray tracing. Now this keeps the ray tracing capabilities. It will scale down the resolution a bit, but it will keep those ray tracing capabilities, and it will uncap it to 60 FPS. So, you know, it's not getting 60 FPS all the time. That's obvious, especially when you're in some heavy combat. If you're in the air or something using jets, then you are definitely going to notice that it's not 60 frames per second. But you range from around 40 to 50. And as you can see, yeah, this game still looks very nice. It doesn't look quite as good. The sign here doesn't look quite as clear compared to the fidelity, but it still looks very, very good, I have to say, and I'm very impressed. And I think it's very good from Rockstar to add a performance ray tracing mode. They didn't really have to do that. They could have just gone with fidelity and the performance modes, but they do have a performance ray tracing mode. For example, if we just get on an oppressor here, then, you know, we can fly about, and this is clearly, you know, it's a higher frame rate experience to fidelity, and that's obvious to see. For example, if we just quickly switch back to fidelity, then you're gonna notice it's way more choppy. It might be harder to see in a video, but when you're actually playing hands-on, you know, you can really feel it. And then if we switch to performance, now this gets rid of the ray tracing capabilities, but you are getting, you know, you're getting a true 60 frames per second experience. And a lot of people, this is what they'll play on, to be honest. This is the way they will play the game, and I can understand why. You know, you're getting that 60 FPS, and the game still looks great, to be honest. For GTA 5, I think it looks really, really nice. Obviously, the resolution, everything like that, it's not as high. That's a given. It's just not going to be as high. But you are obviously getting that 60 frames per second experience. And since it's a next generation game, you are getting the haptic feedback on the controller, the adaptive triggers, and all of that to come with the PlayStation 5. So there you go. That is what we get with GTA 5. Well, there we have it. That is the experience that you get on other next generation games, and is what we can expect to arrive with The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, being able to seamlessly switch between the different graphics modes, and obviously having the haptic feedback and the adaptive triggers on that PS5 controller. If you enjoyed this video though, please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any content just like this. And just a reminder about the giveaway for a free physical copy of the next generation version of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt on a platform of your choice. All you have to do to enter this giveaway is be one of the first 1,000 subscribers on the channel. So, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.